to the picketing to bring down the flag of ICC. I break it down. I broke it down several times. I'm an activist who goes to steal files. Yes, activism involves so many things. You even steal things that you, for the sake of a country, you have to do it. But not a court of law. I live in Britain. I have never seen a judge getting involved in picketing. I have never also seen a judge calling on the police commander of Scotland Yard to arrest people to bring them to court. This is the first time in my 65 years that I've seen some magistrate writing a letter that police commissioner arrest those who are criticizing us on this ruling. Let me tell you, if this is the type of democracy, then you are living in a captive democracy. Today I brought that word and it has shocked Daniel. Dr. Nyachama was not present, but the word captive democracy seems to be operating in Kenya, where you don't talk, where the president cannot make even an announcement without people captively going to court. You find people lining up in court, knowing which judge is coming next. He will give me an injunction. That is captive democracy. Kenyans can talk of democracy. Yes, you have it. It is part of it, but too much of democracy killed Rome under Emperor Nero. The Roman Empire was burnt several times. The Rome city was burnt several times by several emperors because he found democracy too much. Did you know why it was called that too much democracy killed Rome? It's because there was too much captive democracy. The sense of captivism, to be captured. You have thieves stealing money, but you cannot go and arrest them because you are captured. The president cannot arrest and put people on firing squad. He is captured by the judiciary, by the law. Captive democracy is one of the most primitive democracies that kills Africa. Wesonga, take it from there.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Matsanga David, the host of the show, and my fellow panelists, and of course our viewers who are watching us from Kenya and across the world. I'll take the shot from the very beginning of it, and of course—
Let me interrupt you just a minute. Dr. Jeff Karui from America, you can join us. You can log in. You can log in. We are happy to see you. I've seen you. Stephen, allow Dr. Jeff Karui from America to log in. If you don't know, our logging number is 399-535-8320. Then the code for entry is 503670. Log in. We want to hear your views from Washington, D.C. Thank you. Wesonga, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Matsanga. And of course, I wanted to pass my point and say that it is a new dawn for the people of Kenya for us having the first female Chief Justice. But when you look at Martha Koome, she's not only the first female Chief Justice that Kenya had, but this is an individual who has ascended the heights of judiciary through meritocracy. When you look at the kind of job she's done across the country, wherever she's been posted as a judge, she has left a very, very clear record of delivering very sane judgments. And we do not have anyone actually during her vetting who came up with any allegation of corruption other than a few complaints here and there. But also, most importantly, Dr. Matsanga, you've mentioned since earlier before that our judiciary has been hijacked by activism. Judicial activism is a disease that has now encroached the government of Kenya, and that is no secret. We are having cases which are being thrown out due to judges who are former activists, and therefore they hold a very skewed opinion about some matters that are brought before them. And that is something that actually came into existence with the 2010 Constitution, which purported to do an overhaul in our judiciary and bring in fresh blood in terms of judges and new magistrates. But in doing so, they never realized that they opened gates for activists, for tricksters and other corrupt individuals to enter and infiltrate our judiciary. And the result of it is having judges like David Maraga and the ilk, people who are more into activism other than the national interest. And when you look at this particular Chief Justice, Martha Koome, she's a lady who stood actually with this country at the point in time when Kenya was in the brink of falling into mayhem and anarchy. You remember in 2017, when Justice Odunga had ruled that the returning officers as selected by the IEBC could not oversee the 2017 presidential election. It took the bold move of Justice Martha Koome coming from a leave to just make sure that this Mali is clogged, is taken away from the pathway so that we can have elections. Because if this could not have happened, then who knows, today we will not be maybe having even this discussion here, because the country might have ended up in mayhem. So to me, I think she is the best person who is best suited to take up the judiciary, to be able to clear all these activists in the judiciary. Let them, if they want to do activism, if they want to be politicians, let them resign as judges and take up their roles in the streets of this country as activists. They can join elective posts as politicians, but let not use their positions as judges to be able to influence negatively matters of national interest. And the judgment by the 5 judges of the High Court really shows the extent by which our country is hijacked by this judicial activism, telling the people of Kenya that a matter of national interest such as BBI, that some clauses cannot be amended, whence we know that the people are supreme to the law, because without the people, the law cannot exist. And the people are not the subject of the law, then that tells you that this was a very vague judgment. It was a judgment pervaded by judicial activism, and it had no interest of the people of Kenya other than the interest of the few individuals. And these are the characters that we want Justice Martha Koome to deal with squarely and ensure that by the time she'll be leaving office after serving her tenure, we shall not have judges in the judiciary who are just there to balance the equation and to advocate for the rights of the NGOs and few corrupt individuals who pay them handouts to do such kind of activism. Dr. Matsanga, I submit.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Daniel. I now come back to the second set of questions. Dr. Joseph Nyachama, we have 2 ladies, Chief Justice and a Deputy Chief Justice of one sex, or one, is it? Yes, female, or female sex. Both of them, their lordships are ladies. What do you think is going to happen now? Can we as men, boy child, as called, can we for the first time leave these women work, do their work? Or if there are questions, can we solve them? At the moment, the Supreme Court is full. All the judges are in presence. Their presence is well known. Now, do we disrupt the status quo because we want a man to be the deputy? What's your position?
Thank you, Dr. Masanga and my fellow panelists. Tarut, Tawish, Songa, and the new guest who has joined us. Firstly, Dr. Masanga.
Sorry, we have three women.
Look
we have three women on the panel, which makes it very interesting now. But there's one Chief Justice and a Deputy Chief Justice who are ladies. That is what I meant. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I do not think that there is any infringement of any law, any provision in law, because if you look at the executive, Dr. Masanga and my fellow panelists, don't we have a male president and a male deputy president and several males in that order in other top echelon of political leadership? That is one arm of government, which is executive. When you come to the judiciary, we have her lordships. They just nominated her lordship, Martha Karam Koome. The second is the Deputy Chief Justice. And there is the other lady, whom you have mentioned. From my own perspective, I don't see any problem. So long as there is an effective service to the people of the Republic of Kenya, that is the bottom line. In fact, Dr. Masanga, I wanted to encourage the mass ladies. This is the moment to prove that they are the best to offer service to the Kenyan people and transform them. And I want to wish the Chief Justice Martha Koome to perform so well so that we have the subsequent Chief Justice female back to back. I do not see, in short, any problem. In fact, if overall you balance, save for the senior positions in the hierarchy of judiciary, still men outweighs women. Overall, yes. If you have to look at the entire judicial system, still men are more. I don't think overall that women, in fact, are even a third, except that this time, the top leadership is being occupied by female. And they haven't complained when men occupy other top leadership. And this time they should also be given to serve their judicial gift to the people of Kenya and demystify the myth that the men are the best performers in all areas. And I think women of this country need to stand by their fellow women, give them support, and demonstrate that in certain aspects, when leadership fail in justice system, we come to a conclusion that women come in to help. In any case, as a Christian, women who are created to be helpers. And you know, Dr. Masanga, a helper is stronger than the one who's being helped. This is the chance, through the leadership of Martha Koome, to help this republic as far as matters of justice dispensation is concerned. Because Dr. Masanga, you said, how can people who are in a justice system threaten Kenyans that they should not criticize a bad decision? You see, if you make an unreasonable decision, people must criticize so that next time you don't repeat. Because unreasonableness, you cannot litigate it in court. You know, if I, Joseph, I'm so stupid, you know, you can't take me to court. What do you accuse me of? The only thing is to criticize me until my inner sorrow is hurt so that next time I don't repeat the actions. So I think Martha Koome should also bring sanity, because they are gagging the public, because we have a duty to pinpoint where things are not done in a right way as far as justice system is concerned. In short, Mashanga, I wanted to say I don't see any infringement. All these ladies need to be supported, and I plead to them to demonstrate leadership and disapprove the myth that it's only men who can dispense great justice effectively. For now, Dr. Masanga, I submit.
Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much. Tawish, two ladies manning the court, the judiciary. Is it a blessing? I have 5 daughters. Therefore, if I was given a chance to vote, I will leave them. What about you?
Well, thank you so
By
much,
the way,
Dr. Masanga.
5 daughters, 4 are married, 1 is single.
So what are you implying, Victor?
No, I am an African man because some people here seem to be lonely.
Klimi listening. Klimi, are you?
So,
Dr. has chosen to
but
be
before you marry the other one, the last one born, you must have had a first class degree from Cambridge. That's what she had. That is what she has. And I'm going to her ceremony. I will beam it live to Punchline to see. You'll see me standing there, Father. Oh, yes. You must have a to take her as long as I'm still alive. If you come with a flat degree like that of President Museveni, I don't want to take you anywhere near me. I hate flat degrees. No honors.
Is to have A+.
Yes, a girl smashes in law, international law. She smashes A. Her marks were above 85. That's the Matanga brain. So those who are thinking of being applicants, you are welcome. But the qualification is that. Where Songa,
Yeah.
if you started with C+, drop out. I'm yet to see Kirimi, but so I have to tell you, if I were the one, I would allow the 2 ladies to continue with work. What do you think?
Well, Doctor, I hope that was just off the cuff. But if you are,
It's not on
that, then I hope you can put the same in the Punchline Africa TV website so that people can place their beats. But Dr. having said that, I think
this is live. But she's not there for any bids at the moment. She's going ahead for her master's, then PhD from King's College, London. Have you ever heard of that university, Mr.? Yes, Doc, you know it. Entry there is the highest.
Being a lawyer, Dr.
As much as I've not gone there.
In fact, the university came to the school to say, please, please, please don't go anywhere. So I'm just giving a warning shot to Kirimi.
Very well. Thank you so much, Daktari, for actually bringing that kind of discussion as well, because again, it's breaking the ice and making it lively for the discussion to proceed, especially when we are discussing this, discussing about the new lady in town who has been given that, I mean, enormous task to be the next Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. Having said that, Dr. Masanga, I think I will join my colleague panelist, Dr. Nyanchama, by saying that much as there is no any infringement on having 2 ladies, one as Chief Justice and the other as a Deputy Chief Justice, there's a lot of baggage in the current Deputy Chief Justice that we feel, I personally feel, that with the coming in of the new Chief Justice, and we've given the task is very clear. I mean, the work is well cut out for the new Chief Justice. There's a cartel of masquerading thieves and activists in that judiciary, especially even at the Supreme Court, that needs to be dismantled. And I think it is my submission, my considered view, Dr. Masanga, that perhaps these are some of the things that the new Chief Justice must be in a position to address, to dismantle that cartel. Remember, the current Deputy Chief Justice who is serving has a baggage has a baggage in terms of those corruption allegations and the abuse of office and such kind of things. It's a big indictment on her, especially being the Deputy Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Kenya. And I think these are the things we are going to embark on, especially as the new Chief Justice comes into place. But having said that, Dr. Masanga, I think for the new Chief Justice, there's a matter of restoring public confidence in the judiciary, which seems to have completely been eroded by the previous people who served in that capacity. So this is one of the biggest tasks that the new Chief Justice must be in a position to address, to restore public confidence in the judiciary so that the ordinary people at home may really feel and have the confidence and faith that if I went to the judiciary, if I went in our Kenyan courts, I'll be able to get justice without, of course, being compromised, the justice that is not compromised. Dr. Masanga, there's a question we have been talking about all through about corruption. We are talking about the incompetence within amongst the judicial officers or some of the judges we have in our judiciary today. And if the axe is going to fall on any of the judges, even if it means at the Supreme Court, there is no problem, because we want a total cleanup, a total overhaul of the entire judiciary, so that we have men and women of integrity, people of competence, people who are willing and determined and committed actually to undertake their task without undue bias, Dr. Masanga. There's a question of efficient service delivery, Dr. Masanga. Remember, for example, there are cases that have delayed in our courts today. Some take over 10 years. I mean, there are cases about corruption, criminality. Why do we have delayed justice in our Kenyan courts? So I think this is also one of the fundamentals that the new Chief Justice Martha Koome must be in a position to address. And very lastly, Dr. Masanga, I think there's also the question of synergy. We need our judges to speak in one voice. We need them to read from the same script. Much as they are coming in as independent, they need to listen to one another, converse, and always arrive at a decision that does not paint them as people who are at crossroads, because we have seen it in the past. There are people who mean well for this country. There are people who mean well for the executive. There are people who mean well for the government to perform, but there are those who are derailing and continually trying to pull us back by giving contradictory of course, verdicts like we have seen in the past. So, Dr. Masanga, I hope that Martha Koome is one of those individuals really who are up to the task and who are going to bring sanity to our not only to the Supreme Court, but the entire judiciary and in the justice system in our country. Dr. Masanga, I submit.
Thank you very much, Tawish. Yes, let me come to Koome. Two ladies manning the judiciary. Any problem you have?
Thank you, Dr. Masanga. And let me clarify something. I have no intention to marry my sister, who is your younger daughter. So I'm okay. And I passed my school very well, and I have no intention to marry my sister. So if anyone wants to do a bid, I can help them come to you directly without a lot of problems. So my issue is
gracious.
Thank you. I can't marry my sister. My issue with the Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu is that she has a lot of baggage, like Tawisha said. So if she clears herself from that, if she can step aside now that we have a Chief Justice, step aside until she is cleared of that, then she can come as a fresh face and then engage in a role as a Deputy Chief Justice without any problems, and they can serve well. Actually, we have a president who is a male and also a deputy president who is a male. So there is no problem there. They can serve, the two ladies can serve and steer our judiciary and take it forward. And one positive aspect, I criticize Philomena Mwilu very often, but there is one aspect that I've seen that our leadership has been able to bring. She has been actually been able to bring communities together, integrate communities together by even a good Maasai attire. I'm shocked that Tawisha has never noticed that being a Maasai. She incorporates the Maasai culture like no other public official that we have seen. We have seen her in high-profile meetings in Maasai attire, and that is very commendable. She has been able to bring culture at workplace and also to integrate Kenyan communities together. People feel together, people feel integrated in the Kenyan society, especially the Maa community has been represented very well in our outfits and all that. But behind that representation that she has been doing for different communities in her attires and all that is a fraud-related case, and also every other thing that has been associated, evil thing that has been associated with Philomena Mwilu. She needs to clear a name so that we can be able to move forward as the people of Kenya and grow our judiciary and take judiciary where we want it to go, so that we can be able to fight corruption with vigor, so that we can be able to strengthen the anti-corruption case using the two leaders at the judiciary, the Chief Justice Martha Koome and the Philomena Mwilu, the DCJ. But if she continues with her baggage, it will be a problem for her to perform her duties very well and perfectly without clearing herself of all the criminal and also those the fraud allegations against our person, Dr. Masanga. So my issue is a criminal record that the suspected fraud cases that are hanging on her neck. If she clears her name, she can be able to be the best Deputy Chief Justice that we ever had. But as long as she continues abusing office and hiding bribes at the DCJ title and also frustrating the court process, abuse of court process, Dr. Masanga, I have a huge problem with the Deputy Chief Justice, but if she clears herself, we can have two women steering judiciary to new levels where we no longer have male-dominated ego judiciary. But if she clears herself, I have no problem with that at all. As a woman, she is qualified. The Chief Justice, Martha Koome, is qualified. They can take the judiciary forward. But unless she clears herself. Thank you, Dr. Masanga.
Thank you very much. The same question to Daniel Sean Wesonga.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Masanga. And of course, like the fellow panelists, I see no problem with having two women leading the judiciary. And actually, there are three with Amadi being the chief registrar of the judiciary. But however, that has to come with a disclaimer, because Philomena Mwilu, who is the DCJ, is someone who has worked with the former Chief Justice David Kenani Maraga. She has to be actually very careful and not to continue with the legacy, the abrasive and quite combative relationship that the judiciary had with the executive. She has to maybe agree with the new modus operandi, the new working model that the new Chief Justice Martha Koome will bring on board to ensure that the relations which were severed by the former Chief Justice are actually amended, and the judiciary is able to have a warm, cordial relationship with the executive to ensure that the people of Kenya receive services, the people of Kenya receive justice in a timely manner. Because whenever the judiciary is at war with the executive, a lot of things actually stagnate. We have a lot of projects which would have actually taken a route if it was not for the court cases that are pending, court cases that are actually holding the projects behind. We have a lot of good initiatives, good policies that the president actually had in place that would have actually been implemented if it were not for the judiciary and the red tapes that it puts on such kind of policies from the president. Today, Kenyan people are deprived of enough judges in our courts simply because the other leadership in the judiciary submitted the names of people whose names were tainted with corruption and impunity. So therefore, as my brother Douglas Kirimi Bundi says, we have no any bad blood with Justice Philomena Mwilu. She can be the Deputy Chief Justice until her term comes to end. But however, as it is world over, for those who are perceived to be the custodians of law and justice, they say that they should see no evil, they should speak no evil, and they should hear no evil. And if Philomena Mwilu has something that is really hounding her from the past, then she has to go back, clear her name, and when she comes before Kenyans, we shall give her the enough and much needed support that she needs to work together with the new Chief Justice, that is Justice Martha Koome. But as it is, Dr. Mathanga, I see no ill intent in that, only that we have to look at the question of DCJ Philomena Mwilu. I submit.
Thank you very much. As we come to the conclusion of this show, it's exactly 1 hour and some few minutes. I just want to give one of you each a chance to talk about the Juja elections. And two, since this is unfiltered, I want to tell you one story from Kampala, which is a very interesting story. One MP had 2 wives. And I think you have seen that clip running around. So he went to swear in. The wives had to fight over the podium, who should be near the Bible. So I don't know whether Wesonga would like to have such a scenario or Kirini would have. For us, we editors, we don't have any problem. I don't know whether Stephen has that clip. Production team, can you talk to me? You have that clip? Punchline. Do you have that clip? Okay. I want to give you a chance to talk about Bonchari and the Juja elections. Thank you. Let me start with Kirimi this time. Juja.
Doctor, I've been running away from talking about the Juja contest, but here we are.
Even me, I feel very ashamed.
For Juja, Dr. Masanga, I live in Vika, and there's one thing I know that is very clear. These people who were supposed to be campaigning for Susan, they told her, now that you are being funded and also being including the president as campaign for you, this seat is yours. So they didn't campaign, and Moses Kuria used a lot of propaganda and all that. So for Moses Kuria and George Koimburi, I wish them all the best, and as they dispense their mandate through the People's Empowerment Party, because they worked for it politically. I may not say they deserve it to be elected because George Koimburi is a man with a tainted past from business world and also from many other issues that are bedeviling his life. But
so in short, now we can expel Moses Kuria from Jubilee.
I'm coming there.
Yes.
So what they have demonstrated is that their party can be able to field candidates and also be elected. And actually today Moses Kuria revealed also a candidate for Kiambaa constituency, where the former MP, Mr. Koinange, died and also left a vacancy in that constituency. For Moses Kuria now, a time has come for you, Moses Kuria. Before I couldn't accuse you of many things, but by the mere fact that you have even disrespected your party leader, gone against the ideals of Jubilee Party, your time has come for us to be able to call out the bluff that is Moses Kuria, and also for people who are in Jubilee Party like myself, petition the party to send Moses Kuria away so that Moses Kuria can now stand in his own party like a man, so that the people of Gatundu will give him a fresh mandate under the People's Empowerment Party, and everyone else that was seen in Juja, Rigathi Gachagua of this world, Irungu Kangata, all these people should be sent to political oblivion, because Dr. Masanga, it is very wrong. If I feed from your hand, in the morning I will be found to be insulting you, and I feed from your hand, evening, lunch time, and also in the morning again. Before I insult you, I feed from your hand. It is sad for these people to have fed from the hand of Jubilee Party over years, and now they have turned against Jubilee Party. And for the contest that was in Juja constituency, for Mama Susan Wakape, you will fight another day. But for Moses Kuria, a time has come for you, gentlemen, to face the electorates in the Gatundu South, for us to field another candidate under Jubilee Party. The benevolence of Jubilee Party has come to an end, Dr. Masanga, because when you look at it, the kind of embarrassment a member elected under Jubilee Party, the first time he went to parliament, he was directly handpicked by the president and handed over a political seat in Gatundu South, which is the President Kenyatta's backyard. But what this man has chosen to do in Juja is completely fight government, fight the president, and embarrass Jubilee Party, which is his own party. So Dr. Masanga, I'm calling on Jubilee Party to expel Moses Kuria and send him away to his own People's Empowerment Party. If he's a man enough now, we need to meet him at the ballot, make others stand under Jubilee Party and others so that they can battle out by August, so that we can be able to know who between Moses Kuria and the people of Gatundu has the clear mandate that Moses Kuria continues misusing that was given under the president's party. And also for Bonchari, for the people of Bonchari, as I've spoken, the kind of the political environment that was there was not permitting people to move freely and also campaign freely, because people were complaining, especially the ODM party, were complaining of police interference and all that. But it is about time we moved on. The people that should be able to work with the engineer Omieke. This Omieke guy is the man that was stealing from IPRA. He was the CEO of IPRA and has been accused of so many corruption cases. But now, Dr. Masanga, a time has come for the people of Bonchari also to move on so that we can be able to forge a better Bonchari, a better Juja constituency. But for Moses Kuria, it's about time we expelled him from Jubilee Party. As a registered card-holding member of Jubilee Party, I shall petition my own party to send Moses Kuria home, Dr. Masanga, so that he can go home and come out now with his own party like a man that he is in politics. I submit.
Yes. Let me go to Dr. Nyachama, you will summarize it for us. Let me come to Wesonga.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Matsanga. And on my take, I start with Juja. And what I'll say is that it is very trivial. It is very unfortunate that some guys now have started to actually reduce the conversation to compare the Juja by-election between to pit President Uhuru Kenyatta against Moses Kuria. By any stretch of the imagination, Moses Kuria cannot equal, and he cannot even occupy the position, the amplitude, and the experience the person President Uhuru Kenyatta has since 2002 up to today, being the head of state. And of course, if it were that President Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to compete with Moses Kuria in Juja, and on the ballots we only had two names, or that of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Moses Kuria, you best know how the results would have been. Moses Kuria will not have even come any closer to the votes that President Uhuru Kenyatta has won. But however, as it may be, Douglas Kirimi has said, even in the African culture, if a son proves that now he's grown up enough and he can go ahead in the village courting girls and engaging in such kind of activities, the African culture says that he can no longer live with the father under one roof. One has to go out. And in this sense, the son has to go out. And in this matter of Jubilee Party, Moses Kuria has proven that he can go against his own party and be able to go out there, endorse his own candidate, and send him to an election and be able actually to win the seat. So it is high time now the Jubilee Party dismembered Moses Kuria from the party and allowed him to prove his worth in his own constituency of Gatundu South. That is what happened when Raila Odinga was dismembered from KANU. He went and resigned and vied on an NDP ticket in Langata, which has henceforth become Kibra, and he won back his seat. So it is also time for Moses Kuria to prove his worth. Another thing, this was an in-house thing for the House of Mumbi. It is not something that the popularity of a certain presidential candidate has gone up. Politics at the end of the day are local, and when 2022 comes, the people of Mount Kenya will be able to elect their presidential candidate based on their own regional interests. Remember, this was local politics, and therefore they had to elect whoever they thought was the best candidate for this particular seat. To Bonchari, I think that was a race that actually couldn't make much distinction, because all the three contestants, the race was quite close, and therefore it won't carry any significance, except for the fact that ODM now has the one and only MP from the Gusii region. I submit, Dr. Masanga.
Tawish, your views.
Thank you so much, Dr. and indeed my colleague panelist for this submission. Dr. If you allow me the latitude, I'll attempt to be a little bit brutal and honest tonight on this question of the just concluded by-elections in Ruri Ward, Juja constituency, as well as Bonchari. One, and I think I will focus more on Juja by-election because again, there's been a lot of interest. There's a lot of course, we've seen reactions and the kind of the trending topics on both in social media platforms, on Twitter, Facebook, and elsewhere. You've seen what has been trending about the, the popularity and the supremacy contest per se, especially in Juja constituency. I think, Dr. Masanga, I should begin by first saying, congratulating those who have won in this particular by-elections, because it's one thing to contest, it's another one to win, and we should give it to them, those who have won this by-election, regardless how they did win it. Second, Dr. Masanga, I think I also need to condemn the acts of violence that you have witnessed, especially in Juja and Bonchari by-elections, because again, those two incidences of people being intolerant, the display of intolerance, the kind of violence that was exhibited, especially in Juja last night when counting was underway, I think is uncalled for and something we should reprimand as, of course, analysts and observers in this critical exercise that matters when it comes to democracy and people electing their representatives, especially in the legislature. So, Dr. Masanga, yesterday, I think I was really amused that the likes of the people, instead of going to strategize and prepare for this election in advance, they could only but come now the last minute stretcher when everything else could not be, when nothing ordinarily could be done, really maybe to tilt the tide in as far as that by-election is concerned. So I want particularly to petition the people around, people who, of course, are supporting President Uhuru Kenyatta, especially the political leaders, the lawmakers. They should actually walk the talk. They should demonstrate this through action. They cannot be supporting President Uhuru Kenyatta and allow such kind of what I refer as humiliation and embarrassment on President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party, because there's no way I can separate Jubilee Party from President Uhuru Kenyatta. He's the party leader. And therefore, when you have such kind of a performance of a Jubilee Party, especially from a county where President Uhuru Kenyatta himself comes, then I think there are people who are supposed to be answerable. It is time we tell them to their face to correct these wrongs as we head to 2022. Because again, we cannot massage their egos. It is not possible that they were sleeping and only woke up yesterday when the votes were being counted for them to give us all manner of excuses as to why they could not actually dismantle and make sure that Moses Kuria cannot roam around and now claim to be the victor or claim to be the most superior now more than President Uhuru Kenyatta. But that said, Dr. Masanga, there's a question of party loyalty, and I think this has come to the fore many times. It is one of those grounds that has made even the former nominated Senator Isaac Mwaura to lose his seat. Tomorrow, if you took Moses Kuria to a Jubilee Party's disciplinary committee, he will actually ask or give so many excuses, or even ask you to give instances that point to the fact that he's betrayed his party, that he's not been loyal to the party and party leader, to the ideals of the Jubilee Party. I mean, what more testimony, what more evidence do we need actually to give if anything is to go by what happened yesterday in Georgia? He's been campaigning. He campaigned, of course, for a different candidate against his own political party, Jubilee, that sponsored him to parliament. He's actually managed to sponsor a different candidate and campaign for that candidate, and actually gone ahead to try and mock Jubilee Party and the party leader of that particular party. So, Dr. Masanga, I think it is time we need to have our leaders being responsible, actually standing with the ideals and principles of the parties that sponsor them to any elective position. It is not possible that people get these parties as just a rider, as a vehicle to get elected, but once they get elected, they retreat into their cocoons, they begin disparaging and demonstrating, displaying utmost disloyalty to the party leadership and the political parties that sponsor them. I think this is uncalled for. Even if it is democracy, this is something that we must reprimand and tell these people that it is time then they have to actually to call it a day and maybe seek the mandate of the people through the parties that they now claim are more popular than the Jubilee Party that actually sponsored them. For Moses Kuria, I think I may not have so many words for him, because Moses Kuria, like some of the political leaders, the likes of Kimani Ichung'wah from Kikuyu, are people who actually got into their position that they're serving today, courtesy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. I remember so many interventions that President Uhuru Kenyatta did put in Gatundu South to make sure that Moses Kuria was elected unopposed when he was coming in the first instance. I remember when the MP then actually passed on in Gatundu South constituency. So Moses Kuria will be the last person, or rather should be the last person really to disparage or display disrespect to President Uhuru Kenyatta for the courtesy he has actually shown and extended it to him. So Dr. Masanga, I think party loyalty and discipline is something we need to talk about. It must be instilled, it must be restored once again, if really we are talking about democracy and sanity in our politics. But again, let's not forget to condemn and reprimand the kind of violence that you're witnessing. Otherwise, it's going to degenerate into something uncontrollable, especially as we head into next year's general election. Dr. Masanga, I submit. Your audio is mute, Dr. Ori.
Should Moses Kuria remain in the party? If yes, why should he remain in the party? What type of democracy do you want in Kenya? The type of democracy where you have a party and you go and field a candidate on your own party and they win an election, then you remain in the party, draw the salary. What do you think?
That is me, Dr.
Yes.
Thank you very much, my fellow panelists. I think, allow me, Dr. just to take you back a bit to what I have said many times. This country, and it has come to vindicate my statement, I have said before, this country has produced, this country has produced great leaders without character. They have produced powerful leaders without principles. They have produced intellectual leaders without morality, visionary leaders without values, and even spiritual leaders without conscience. Did you see even one of the spiritual leaders standing abusing a head of state? I was shocked. In fact, coming back to your question, let me go to Juja, and my words is to caution Moses Kuria. Please don't be cheered up to enter into a boxing ring when you are a lightweight. You will be floored down with one punch, not a second punch. Do not succumb to cheering from members of public who are not factual and objective. That is one caution I want to tell him. Do not join a fight of a heavyweight if you are a lightweight. I think you are going to be a casualty. I usually say if you become casual to your leadership, you will end up being a casualty. Number two, in the case of Juja, Dr. Masanga, I think this is your area. You may be knowing this story. You remember what took place in 1961 when J.F. Kennedy wanted to attack what this country of, he wanted to attack Cuba. You remember the story of the Bay of Pigs, and it was a fiasco. Remember, the people who were with J.F. Kennedy were the most gifted people in intellect American as a state has never had. But you know, they failed in their military attack to Cuba. You know, these stories are the Cuban citizens who had rebelled went to America and regrouped, and they were being sponsored by the American government to overthrow Castro. But it backfired. Why? Note that President J.F. Kennedy lacked intellect among his group. The problem was the group think. You know, you may have people are intellectuals and still fail. And in fact, J.F. Kennedy said, how could we have been so stupid to be conquered by a weak enemy like Cuba? Dr. Masanga and my fellow panelists, stupidity wasn't the explanation. The explanation was laxity and groupthink. People did not want to execute the responsibility they were given. Instead, they laxed, and eventually they lost the war, and their military were captured. It's the same scenario I see with Juja, because I think Jubilee took things in a very light manner, and you can see the situation they have put His Excellency the President. I think it's a lesson learned. Number 3, I don't see a reason why Kuria should continue being a member of parliament through Jubilee ticket. In this by-election, it was evident for everybody to see that he has quit the party. And disciplinary action, I believe, will take place as soon as yesterday. Going to Bonjari, you saw the Prime Minister issued a statement. I hope each one of you listened to it, condemning the policemen. I think the Prime Minister was more focusing in Bonjari than in Juja, because in Bonjari he had interest, because his people were complaining that the supporters of ODM were being harassed. I know he was targeting the security minister. What I would only say is that let there be a constraint, a great restraint, and let people make their choice freely. A lesson has been learned from the 2 by-elections, and all those concerned write notes, because so as we approach for the next elections, I think these 2 by-elections have taught people a lesson. But for Juja, Kuria has no business being in parliament in a Jubilee ticket. Dr. Masanga, I submit.
Okay. Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much, all of you. 28 minutes past 8 o'clock. This brings us to the end of our show. Tomorrow, we shall begin very early. Tawish, I will be on my own, Facebook. So defend me there live. And I want to challenge people. Moses Kuria, should he be sent away or not? That's what I want to discuss in the morning. And itaanza kuwachokoza asubuhi sana. You can see I've just put a comment. I tell you, have you seen how it is going to 150 people likes? And it is competing with the comments. They are also hammering me. But
we are coming to fumigate them, though.
I'm just weighing the waters. I thank you very much, all of you. I thank you so much, Dr. Nyachama, for sparing your time. You and I, we shall go miles and miles away ahead of forging a very united platform of intellectual discourse that will bring back sanity in Africa. We seem to be talking the same way. We have the same version. We have the same frankness. That is the type of thing. You know, look at me. I've developed a thick skin. I don't care about the comments. You tell me to go to Uganda, will I sleep on a tree? No. I have a house in wherever I go, even in Uganda, I have a house. So I'll not lack food. There is plenty of food in Uganda. But Does it change? Uganda has internet. Will I not comment on Kenya because I'm in Uganda? I will. So it doesn't make sense. This is a global market. But you and I and the rest of you, Tawish, the rest of the people, Stephen, Wesonga, and the others, and I thank you, Kirimi. I thank all the listeners, viewers, whatever you want. Thank you very much. And Wesonga corrected that watch. It was always standing at 6. Was it the day you wedded or something? That all of you have seen that watch every time Wesonga comes. It doesn't, whether in the morning, is it the time that you waited or what is the problem?
We're gonna look
So
into
thank
that.
you very much, all of you. Aruta Kontina. Remember, on Friday, we have a show you don't want to miss. That is Matsanga and Tawish interviewing Namdi Khan.
No?
Woohoo!
Which
Namdi
Khan?
Namdi Khan. Namdi Khan, the leader of the Igbo people of Biafra.
Biafra.
Oh, amazing.
Whoa, my God. So sure. So, Tawish, I'll provide you with details. And you need, you have shaved properly. Then we need to, you be my support anchor. And I'll be myself in the studios. Right from the studios. I'll be coughing from there. Thank you very much. Don't miss that show. We shall have maybe 4,000 per second logging in. The show you cannot miss at 11 o'clock. Matsanga interviews Namdi Khan. Thank you. Thank you very much, Stephen. Bye-bye. Doc, I will speak to you tomorrow.
Okay, have a good night, Doc.
Okay.
All right.